Hi and welcome to Draw Plans. I'm Tom Norris and today I wanted to discuss new kitchens, and how much money we waste on new kitchens. Almost all the projects we get involved with end up having a new kitchen, whether it's extension, refurb, conversion. New kitchens get installed, and what I've got here in front of me are some of the most popular kitchen brands in the UK today. Now, I'm very much aware of cost and kitchen costs, and when it comes to the overall cost for any particular project, the cost of the kitchen is a huge chunk of that budget, simply because it's the units, the worktops, the appliances, the installation. It's a fair amount of money. So what I wanted to do was to discuss how much people spend on kitchens and which kitchens they actually go for and why, and how to change all that by doing something completely different and saving yourself a whole load of money, but ending up with an easily comparable kitchen. Right, so to start with, let's have a look at Magnet. Now, Magnet, they've been around for donkeys of years, and they pitched themselves. I remember the TV advertising in the early days, and they pitched themselves as kind of market leader, much better quality, and because they had what I would consider to have posh kitchen adverts or kitchen advertising on mainstream TV. In the early days, then they kind of captured the market for anyone that was looking for a better quality kitchen. And of course, they were trying to get away from the era of cheaper kitchens, which were mostly flat pack and had loads of issues with the flat packs because the design was really quite poor. In the days when Magnet climbed to the top of the pile, they were competing against companies like MFI and cheap ranges coming from sheds like B&Q, Homebase and so on. They really hadn't got their act together for kitchens, but Magnet became the brand leader and the most respectable brand. And I think what made them stand out is that their carcasses came pre-assembled and sealed. They were a complete unit. Of course, from my point of view, I looked at it from a different perspective, and from my perspective, I considered the range of units not to be anywhere near enough, meaning the different sizes and so on. So they were inflexible, whereas the flat packs were way more flexible. But at that time, all those years ago, the flat packs were really quite poor. So Magnet climbed to the top, and as a result, people paid loads more for their kitchen, and they got used to the idea of paying loads more. So today, I think they basically, like most of the kitchen companies, Magnet have different ranges and so on and so forth. But from what I gather with our clients, the average spend on a Magnet kitchen for a 3-bed, pretty standard home would be in the region of about £15,000 to £20,000, and that would include appliances and so on, but unlikely to include fitting, etc., which could be another £2,500 to £3,500. And another point about appliances is you got to be wary on buying kitchens from kitchen companies because they're giving you cheaper appliances. Well, yeah, they may well be giving you cheaper appliances, but they could be a year out of date, or basically an end of ranges by the kitchen companies that but they're unlikely to be giving you brand new appliances just released to sweeten the deal and to sell a Magnet kitchen or to sell their kitchen. So Magnet, their positioning in the marketplace is, in my view, on top from the mainstream kitchen companies. Now Wren, actually I like Wren. I mean, I've been to their showrooms a few times, and sometimes it's great to walk around the showrooms because you see stuff that is kind of, I didn't realize they were doing that, or I didn't realize they had these bits and pieces to stretch units or to put between units Like there, for example, one of the things I liked was, on the tall larder units, if you had say 3 or 4 of them, you can get a little section that's about 50 mil wide to go in between the carcasses, and you can have that in gold and silver, and it can really push up some pretty cheap units, or give it a kind of a look that is far different from the average fitted kitchen. But yeah, so Wren are pretty good. They're cutting edge. They're got some great styles. But once again, cost wise, they're up there with Magnet now, in the region 15,000-20,000 pounds for an average kitchen. They do cheaper ranges, but at the end of the day, they try to lock you in on all the appliances, the worktops, and the installation, and it's some serious money. Definitely, whether it's value for money is entirely down to you, but at the end of the day, you're coming into the best part of 20k. So if you're adding on an extension, there goes your 20k on the kitchen. Howdens, they're slightly different, because you can tell by the logo. It's like countrified. They started out as trade kitchens, and you can't actually walk in off the street and buy a kitchen from Howdens. You have to have a trade account, so you're relying on your builder. So Howdens do a lot of marketing for their kitchens through, well, they do it mainstream, but they also do it through their builders and through their kitchen fitters. So they basically, through their trade accounts, they push the brochures and the magazines, etc. So the builders, and they're on site, they're pushing the Howdens kitchens. They're also incentivized to do that. So they get discounts, and generally I find the ranges are quite lovely. They're quite nice. But again, I've seen better. I've seen inflexible. Howdens come across slightly inflexible, as in their full range of sizes and fittings and availability of other bits and pieces. I'm not quite sure they're up there in the top design wise. Quality wise, they're much the same as Magnet or Wren or any of them, because the carcasses are effectively made from the same product. And again, when it comes back to costs, Howdens are up there with Wren and Magnet. High, decent. Well, I say high. I say 15,000 plus for an average kitchen. Whilst you can get the cheaper ranges, I'm just saying that on the better range of kitchens, be it Howdens, Wren or Magnet, you're on average 15 to 20,000 pound. Wickes. Now let's get over to Wickes. Wickes used to have trade kitchens, which were absolutely rubbish. So, over the past decade or so, they got their act together and they developed a couple of other ranges. So now they have, I suppose, premier ranges, which are on a par with all the kitchen companies. And they have lots of bits and pieces to throw in design-wise, which make them quite interesting. They have that. So in other words, they have some great kitchen design. And they keep coming up with some great-looking doors, which, of course, most people buy their kitchens based on the door. Again, price-wise, on their better ranges, they're on a par with the other top three. So there's nothing much more I can say. B&Q, well, I was really surprised, because I remember reading something about B&Q, and it was to do with how many kitchens they fit every year, and it kind of shocked me, because it was hundreds of thousands. The idea that B&Q, because I never really rated their kitchens very much. I felt that the flat pack was nowhere near as good as what I've come to understand as a really good flat pack. Not that flexible. It just seems a little dated on some of the machining and the way it's put together. There are better techniques which, in my view, are available, but they're a bit slow to, grasp the mantle with getting the latest cutting-edge materials and products to put their kitchen together. So, whilst B&Q fitting, I guess they're fitting to a slightly more broader mainstream market, rather than, say, your middle-class market, which would be Magnet and Wren. I think B&Q are catering for cheaper kitchens. even though they're not necessarily cheaper. But what's very attractive here is, of course, B&Q and Wickes and so on, they offer finance packages, which means a £15,000 kitchen spread over 5 years is quite attractive, as against having to find £20,000 from your budget when you're adding an extension. So, last on the list here is probably, and I have to say it, I'm completely biased, is IKEA. And the IKEA kitchens are a completely different thing altogether. First off, they're flat pack, and people worry about flat pack, but flat pack, in my view, has developed so much over the last 20 years or so. And IKEA have most certainly got the best flat pack in the world as far as I'm concerned, because the techniques and the gadgets and the bits and pieces that they use are absolutely fantastic. So in my view, a flat pack kitchen from IKEA is as good as any pre-made kitchen carcass. So if you're comparing, and a lot of the marketing was done about, oh yeah, our kitchen, because the carcasses are made in the factory and all sealed and so on, they're way superior towards flat pack kitchens. And I can tell you that's not the case. The IKEA flat pack is very durable, very solid, but what I love most about it is that it's malleable, meaning if I needed a unit that was going to be 800 and I had bought a unit called 1000, it's no big deal to shrink it. If I needed a unit to go up 50 mil or down 50 mil, I can trim. In other words, I can adjust to fit the spaces. So they're limited a little bit on the doors. I'd love to, because they do 400, and they do 600, they do 800 and 1000. I'd like them to do the numbers in between, to be honest, but clearly they don't. They don't do 300 unit, they don't do a 5, they don't do 1000, but they do 800 and a 12. So basically I'd like them to do the complete range, because when it comes to doing the design, you know, it will, if you have a complete range of units starting with 3 going right the way up to 1000, then it really is no bother fitting a kitchen. But IKEA, as in quality, the carcasses are as thick as all the others within Magnet, Wren, etc. I think it's around 22 mil now. The durability and the guarantee is still IKEA, and they're guaranteeing for 20 odd years, 25 years, like all of these companies. And having had IKEA installed of many projects over the years, they're just trouble free. So don't think that because you're paying an extra 10k on Magnet or Wren you're going to get a better carcass, because the reality is you're not. So that's a kind of a run through on all of the top kitchen companies, and with all these kitchens, with the exception of IKEA, you're likely to be paying 15 to 20k for these kitchens. Now IKEA, you could cut that in half, because it's just a cheaper package altogether. Now the problem is that people think, oh well, I don't want to buy IKEA, it's just cheap kitchen for flats and for kids, and so it's not the case. Go look at IKEA and you'll soon see what I mean. So what I've done today is I had a quick look at all the latest ranges on all of the kitchens, and I can tell you that they're all much the same in the sense that, you know, all of the kitchen companies are moving forward, and they've got some great looking kitchen doors, but the problem is, if you find a door in Magnet that you like, you think, okay, I know we have to do Magnet because I like the door. And this is what people tell me all the time. Oh no, I have to have the Howdens kitchen because I like the dove grey, you know, handleless kitchen, or I like the Wren kitchen because of blah blah blah. So, but what I want you guys to know right now is that don't buy a kitchen from a kitchen company just because of the door, because those doors are generally available on other ranges, other kitchens, and of course there are kitchen companies that specialize in doors. So I'm going to introduce you now to what I would consider a kitchen company that's really rocketed over the last 5 years or so. And there was a time there during COVID where they were like 4 months or so to get their stuff out because they were absolutely booming. And what they do is kitchen doors. So let me introduce you here to DIY kitchens. Now, first off, let me tell you, I'm not affiliated at all with DIY kitchens, but we do use them a lot, and we use them to save our clients money, because you don't need to buy the units or the kitchens, but you can look at the doors. And now this is a company that sells the doors, and what you got to understand is that within the kitchen industry, all the doors are now kind of standard, meaning they got standard sizes. So if I wanted to pick a 500 base door for a magnet kitchen, I'll find the door size here. If I want the same, if I wanted to buy for a Howden wall cabinet or something, I'll always find comparable sizing. So they do all the main sizing. So basically you look at sizing. So if we look at the handless for a minute, and then we look at the shaker handless kitchen. Well, I'm not sure they're handless, are they? Let's just have a little look here. So you got all the ranges: traditional, high gloss, painted, not going down far enough. So all they do is supply the doors. Well, they used to supply doors only. They started out like that, and now they do carcasses as well. But the range gets wider and wider, and the service gets better and better. So what we say is that instead of going to Magnet and Wren, this is as designers now, what we advise is look around and find a door you want, and start with these kitchen companies. Because if you find a door you want, then that's where you're going to go. So let's assume you find this door here. We have a look at this one. Let's just bring up an example of it. There you go, standard clear door with the handless, as in put your fingers in here. Now they're available in different colors and a full range of sizes and so on and so forth. So all you do is pick the door you want, pick the sizes you want. Well, you don't need to pick the sizes, but if you find a door that you like, then you're laughing, because after that what you need to do is start looking at what we need to be looking at then is worktops. So let's just have a little look here. Well, what I would say to you is you pick, let me get rid of that for a minute. You pick your door, but you can, for example, you can start off by researching on Magnet Wren, Howdens, Wickes, etc. And once you find a door you like, then you can check it on these other kitchen companies, but at the end of the day they're all on a comparable price system. So what you really need to do is go off piste here, and by that I mean go to DIY kitchens as an example and start hunting down doors only from the kitchen companies. And once you find, assuming you find, I'm hoping you'll find something similar within DIY kitchens or one of the comparable companies that specialize in kitchen cabinet doors. And then when it comes to the carcasses, we always recommend go to IKEA. And another thing I love about IKEA is I could send someone down to IKEA in the morning, and they'll come back by lunchtime with all of the carcasses. So there's no long 6 weeks, 8 weeks waiting for the kitchen. You can send someone down to IKEA, come back with the carcasses, as long as you have your design. And if you wanted, IKEA, B&Q, Wickes, all of these kitchen companies will do a design for you. But IKEA will certainly do the design. You go in there and within an hour or so you'll have a design. Ideally, book up before you go on any of these kitchen companies and they'll do the design. Just go in there with a floor plan. But IKEA for the carcasses, DIY kitchens for the doors, and then it's just a question of, let's scroll down here, and I kind of did this little thing here to help you guys remember. So what we're looking at is we're looking at DIY kitchens for the doors, IKEA for the carcasses. And then when it comes to worktops, the most popular worktops that we're seeing going in, this is quality worktops now, would be quartz. So quartz, the thinner one, around 20 mil, rather than the traditional thicker one. So a slimline quartz, and that's where you can have the sink, say a stainless steel or ceramic sink, bolted to the bottom, and then the draining board cut out from the quartz, which absolutely looks lovely and modern and fresh. So the quartz, you would expect to pay about £3,000 on an average kitchen, and it's comparable at least to most of the most of the decent worktops that you would get from any of these companies. So my view is that if you're paying DIY kitchens for the doors, IKEA for the carcasses, and quartz for the worktops, you've already saved about 50% of the cost of your kitchen than going to any of these. And then when it comes to the actual appliances, well, here we go. I'm giving you an example. Again, I'm pointing out I'm not affiliated. This is AO appliances. We use them quite a bit for what we want. So if we look at fridge freezers, we look at integrated, just have a little search, they got 110. So you're going to find a fridge freezer for any kitchen that'll work there. If you're having a freestanding, a big American style thing, that's fine. Let's have a little look to see if they do anything. Fridges and freezers again. There you go, American fridge freezers. So they do a range of those again, in and about £1,000. And again, if you really are having one of these, then you might have to go to various companies to get it, because you know how it is. You're not buying something that's going to be hidden away. You're buying a focal point for your kitchen. So be as fussy as you want and shop around for that. But if it's all integrated appliances, and then if you're building a utility room and you're getting all the appliances out of sight, go to AO or a comparable. What I'm trying to say here is don't be talked into getting your appliances from the kitchen companies. So now when it comes to installation, so you've got all your component parts, you've got your DIY kitchens. Incidentally, they're about 6 weeks to order and pay. Pay and order, you get your stuff about 6 weeks. IKEA you can pick up same day mostly. Quartz, normally what happens is you assemble the IKEA units. Once assembled, you get in touch with the local companies, and I mean we use in London, I use Croydon Granite, and what they do is they come down and they measure up the kitchen once the carcasses are in, and 2 weeks later they come back and fit. So it's painless, it's absolutely painless. They come down within a couple of days, do the measure up, do the survey, and then give you the quote. You're happy with the quote, and they're pretty flexible. In other words, if they tell you 3,005, bargain a little. They want it, but Croydon Granite, that's who we use in London, and they do a lovely job time after time. You can also go to their showroom. They have one in Croydon and they have one in Clapham, which means you can go there and look at the quartz, get a feel for it. So okay, you've got the doors from DIY kitchens. Oh, incidentally, you can order up a sample, which I've done for loads of clients. Just order up a sample. If you find something you like, order up a sample. You get it within a couple of days. So you do order. It can take about 6 weeks before they'll deliver. But in the meantime, pop down to IKEA, get all your carcasses, go to your quartz supplier, get the quotes, get the survey done, get the quotes, and then get that installed. And the doors is one of the last things to go in. Meanwhile, off you go to AO, order up your appliances, and you have basically everything you need. So another big item for the kitchen companies, where they make a nice chunk of money on every kitchen, is the fitting. Now, if you get any of these companies to quote you for fitting their kitchen, it's going to be 2005 plus. In some cases, I've seen 3005 for a pretty standard kitchen. But I'm very much aware that in the marketplace, I can get a kitchen fitted for the best part of £1,500. And that is, I don't mean electrics and plumbing, but to get the units assembled and installed, to get the all the doors put on, all the trims and so on and so forth. And I mean, the reality is you can get it for a lot less if the Quartz company are fitting the worktops as part of their job. The kitchen companies, the kitchen installation guys, all they're doing is assembling the carcasses, hanging the wall units, and then obviously fitting all the doors and tweaking and getting the side panels on and so on. So they do all that. Get your appliances. The kitchen fitters will fit the appliances, and people say, "Oh, I don't know any kitchen fitters," and I'm saying, well, actually, and getting a kitchen fitter is quite easy. You just go to somewhere like one of these sites like My Builder and post a job. You post a job. Excuse me, I've got a bit of flu I'm trying to get rid of. And let's just see, kitchen ABCD, kitchen fitting, there you go. Continue, new kitchen installation. And I guarantee you, within 2 or 3 hours, you'll have 3 or 4 guys or companies chasing you to do you a quote for fitting the kitchen. And look for 1,500 or so, or less. And if you're not getting what you want within your area from My Builder, then this is another one. Sometimes we'll use Checkatrade. Same principle. You just type in kitchen and off you go. You get the, let's just pop that in. So we will use kitchen designers, no, kitchen fitters, kitchen doors, refurbishment. Here you go, kitchen refurbishment. Put in a postcode, and again you'll be getting quotes and you're getting people chasing you. So it's the way to go. So what I'm really trying to say to you here is get your doors from DIY Kitchens or the equivalent. Get your worktops from a local company that does quartz, granite, etc. Quartz is definitely the most popular kitchen work surface going in at the moment. Get your carcasses from IKEA. And again, same day, you go down there. You don't even have to order anything. Just go down and get them back. All these things are easy enough. You can take them in a car. If you need to hire out, they've got a car. They've got van hire on site, so they think of everything. AO, they will deliver within a few days. My Builder, you'll be getting quotes within a few hours. So my view is that if you've got a kitchen project coming up and you're looking at a new kitchen, then if you go this route, you're likely to save 50% or more on a new hybrid kitchen. I say hybrid because it's a combination of different companies. If you go here, 15 to 20,000 pound. Down here, 7 to 12,000 pound. Always spend good money on the quartz, on the work surfaces, because when people go in, that's what they see first. So that's the advice. Really smart worktop, some decent appliances, so that you're not changing them every couple of years. And as I say, hunt for your doors, but it's generally accepted. We know this as designers that. Like for example, we just did 12 flats in Canterbury on a project, and we did the hybrid kitchen, and I think we averaged out £5,500–6,000 per kitchen, as against 15,000 per kitchen. So I'm trying to say to you is, don't waste your money on the big kitchen companies. Go and start using your budget wisely. So instead of wasting all that money, think of what an extra £5,000 or £7,000 will pay for on your extension. That'll pay for your roof. That'll pay for all your flooring or your electrics or whatever. So don't go wasting your money on making Magnet, Wren, Howdens, Wickes, B&Q even more richer than they already are. Get smart, use a hybrid kitchen, create a hybrid kitchen and save yourself some money. Okay, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the little tutorial or the little bit of advice on how to cut your kitchen costs in half. Don't forget, if you got queries, just leave a comment. I'll come on back to you. We monitor all our YouTube vids, so if you leave a comment, we'll come back to you. If you want a bit of advice, then just ask. Okay. Okay. Now, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to get more useful advice like this and save some more money. Okay. Thanks a bunch. See you on the next lesson. Bye bye.